Hello everybody! In this video we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about scripts. So these were introduced in the previous video, and just as in the previous video we still have the script, my script here that we wrote together. So I'm going to double click on it and it's going to open our script in a new window. So in this video we're going to be talking in a little bit more depth about this word clear at the beginning of my script and the semicolons. So maybe let's start with the semicolons. So remember, the point of this is to suppress output. So if I delete these semicolons, again, we talked about this a little bit in the last video, but we get these warnings. And MATLAB is saying you really should add the semicolon unless you have a really, really good reason not to, because all of this is going to get printed when we run the script. So I'm going to save it. Notice this little star up here is telling me that I haven't saved the script yet after making changes, so I'm going to press Command S. It's saved, and let's go back to our command window. So notice no variables in the workspace yet, and I'm going to type my script to run it. And notice now, yes, we have A, B, and C, but all of them got printed out here in the command window. So there's not really a reason to do that in general, so maybe let's go back here. And let's add the semicolons back in. So just as a general rule of thumb, it's a very good idea to add a semicolon at the end of every line in your scripts and functions, unless, again, you have a very particular reason to do otherwise. So now let's take a look at what happens without this clear command. So I'm going to delete it and press Command S. Maybe one thing I didn't emphasize, I think, enough in the previous video is that we want to start our scripts with clear, but we never want to start our functions with clear. So that's a big difference between scripts and functions. But again, okay, let's see what happens if I just remove clear. So it's saved. And now let's try running my script. So, okay, A, B, and C are all the same. That's fine. Let's define another variable now. Let's call it D. And I'm going to set this equal to 5. So we can see now D shows up in the workspace. And I'm going to go back to my script. And I'm going to set C to be equal to A times B times D. Command S to save the script. And now let's run it again. So pay attention to the workspace variables A, B, C. Remember, we updated it so that it should also include multiplication by 5 in this case. So we can now see that C got updated to 35. So, okay, that's fine. But now let's go back to my script. Oops. And now let's use the word clear in front. So Command S to save. And let's run it again. So now we can see unrecognized function or variable D. And the error it's telling us here is in the line where we say C is equal to A times B times D. So what's going wrong is that unlike functions, scripts are able to access your variables in the command window. So when we didn't have clear in script, it was able to access the variable D, which we set as 5. But when we went to script and we said clear at the beginning, so I'll open it again, so clear, what this is doing is clearing all of the variables and then defining them. So D no longer exists in the workspace. So you might think that this clear command, why would we want to include it? It throws an error. But this is very good, and the reason is that when you turn in your scripts for homework, I don't have access to your command windows, neither does your TA. So if you have variables defined in your command window and they're used in your script, well then when me or your TA run your script, it's going to cause an error. So something that you think runs well on your computer, you might send it to somebody else and it no longer works. So I hope this made it clear, no pun intended, of why we would want to use clear, and then also why these semicolons are nice to include as well. Maybe last thing I can show you is you can also include clear or a semicolon after the word clear, although it doesn't really do anything. I might do it out of force of habit, so if you see clear with the semicolon or clear without, they work the same. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you in the next video.